Hey, what's up guys, Metro here, 2012 here, coming at you with another video. This one today is going to be really exciting. I am doing a Cleveland Browns franchise mode with a kind of a twist on it. It's going to have a little bit of the aspect of The Replacements, if you've ever seen that movie. So in the movie The Replacements, for those of you who haven't seen it, essentially the entire NFL went on strike, and then a whole bunch of other teams just went up and bought semi-pro teams. But the Washington Sentinels went and just picked up any random person off the street, put them in the game, and they ended up making the playoffs that way. So what I'm thinking of doing is a little twist on that and doing the Cleveland Browns, and they've been so bad for so long that I just want to go into full rebuild mode, something that hasn't really ever been done in the NFL. And I think if any team were deserving enough to do it, it'd be the Cleveland Browns, because they've been bad for so long and the city's just dying for a championship. It's time for someone to just come in and say, hey guys, we just need to flip the switch, rebuild, and be good down the road. We're going to have to take a few losses. I mean, they've kind of done it because they've been so bad recently, but they really need to go 100% rebuild mode. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to be trading anybody on my team that's worth anything and dropping anybody who's not worth anything, picking up players off the street, making deals, and trying to pick up as many picks and young players as I possibly can. So if you're interested in this series, please stick around for episode 1. Leave a like if you want to see more, and I'll see you in episode 2. Alright guys, so quickly I'm going to go through the rules that I made for this league, because it's kind of confusing, so I want to get it all straight. So I'm going to go ahead and go through the rules that I made. I'm going to put them up on the screen. So the first rule is I can choose to keep any player that's been on the Browns roster for 2 or less years. So essentially what that means is I don't feel like if a player's been on the team for 2 or less years, they've had their chance to make an impact. So people who've been on there forever, it's time to move on from them. But if they've been on the roster 2 or less years, then we're going to want to give them another chance, essentially. Rule number 2 is I can't keep Josh Gordon because he's really barely played on the team for 2 years. He's been suspended so much, so technically he's like a 2-year player when I look at it. And really he's not worthy of being replaced, because when he was on the team, he was definitely helping them win games. Like, it was obvious he was a leading receiver in the league. So and then number 3 is I can't keep Terrell Pryor. This one's just because I like him. It's not because he's good, obviously. He's really bad, actually. But he's in the process of switching positions, so he hasn't really had a solid chance at a position for 2 years. So, and then I put in there, before anyone calls me a cheater, Josh Gordon is 80 overall. It's not like he's the best player on my team, and then Terrell Pryor is even way worse than Josh Gordon. So the 2 players I'm like giving little contingencies for, it's because, I mean, they're bad and it doesn't matter anyways. And rule number 4, I'll be trying my best to acquire draft picks and players under the age of 24. So I'm going to be trying to build this younger from the ground up. Some of the notes I put on that is it's a 5-year rebuilding project, which means if I get people 24 and younger, the oldest they'll be in 5 years is 29. So I'll have a whole bunch of players that are in their prime. Whether they're good or bad, they'll all be in their prime at the same time. And I'll have those players in their prime with a good mix of young guys who are 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and even 4th and 5th year players. Alright guys, here we go. I'm on the Cleveland Browns right now, and they are by far the worst team. Like, 79 overall and 78 overall, like second best, and the Browns are 73 overall. And worse with this, so this is really going to be a challenge. We'll jump into league settings really quick. Go to all Madden. So we'll progress everybody at the end of the season. We'll do that with the computer and for me as well. 8-minute non-accelerated clock. Alright, and I am going to be an owner, just in case I want to rebuild the stadium. I'll stay in Cleveland, but I might want to rebuild the stadium. No, shoot. Okay, so I'm gonna go lifelong fan, because I'm the person who's just fed up with the Browns, and I'm the person who's willing to come in and just rebuild tank for a few years to get good. I know the fans aren't going to really like it, but I think they'll be the most understanding of any fans because they've already lost for so many years, so they're going to be okay with being patient for a few more years and let me do my magic with this team. Alright guys, here's a big moment of truth. We're going to check the injury report, because anybody who got injured, we're not going to be able to trade, which is going to suck. So, the preseason. Just Desmond Bryant. Okay guys, I'm actually surprised this trade went through, so I'm kind of worried that I might have been able to get more out of it, but I traded 2 backup quarterbacks, Josh McCown and Cody Kessler, and got a 5th round pick. Alright, now I'm going to go through and drop everybody I know isn't going to be worth anything and make some free agent pickups. Alright, we're going to go ahead and pick up Malik Collins, rookie out of Nebraska, big D tackle. Looks like a team just straight up dropped him, so we're going to pick him up. Okay, so we'll likely need some tight end help, and since this guy's only 1 year Baltimore's practice squad, 72 overall, 23 years old, we're going to pick him up because we're going to need. Okay, the Giants have placed Bobby Hart on their practice squad. He's a 1 year experienced 22-year-old right tackle, 71 overall. We're going to take some young guys. He's got normal development, but we're going to hope that he develops faster than a typical person, and hopefully we can have a decent. I just want to point out that Trevor Siemian, who's actually starting in real life for the Denver Broncos, is on free agents and is only 61 overall, so Madden doesn't think as highly of him as the Denver Broncos. This may be stupid to pick up another running back, but I really like the one cut back, Kenyon Drake, out of Alabama. He's really fast and quick, because I'm just really not sure if we're going to be keeping both Isaiah Crowell and Duke Johnson. So we're going to go ahead and sign him to our active roster right now. And kind of. Alright, and here's a guy who is going to be a focus of this series. He's only 61 overall, 22 years old. It's 6'4" Moritz Boringer. Those of you who watched the draft, he went in the 6th round to the Minnesota Vikings. He's kind of a cool story because he was a fan of the Vikings and they actually drafted him in the 6th round, but nobody's ever been drafted out of Germany before, and this guy got drafted. He's 6'4", super athletic. He's only been playing against high school caliber players, but he played really well, and if they can develop him well, he's on their practice squad right now. If they can develop him well, he can really turn into a really good wide receiver. As you can see, he's got 94 acceleration, 89 speed, 6'4". So if we work on some things like route running and things that he's bad at, we could really make him into a good wide receiver. I'm planning on making him kind of a slot, a fast 6'4" slot, and maybe moving him to the outside if he plays well enough and if we can get him improved enough. But I definitely want to be signing Moritz Boringer. He's going to be a project of this entire series. So please leave a like if you like that idea. And just being presumptuous, I'm going to need wide receiver depth, so I'm also going to sign Tajay Sharp from the practice squad of the Eagles because he's been in Titans camp, and he's going to be like a number 1, number 2 wide receiver for them. So he can't hurt us, and he's one of the highest overall young guys on this free agency list. So we're Alright, so an interesting guy I'll be picking up here is Rico Gathers. He's a vertical threat tight end, 58 overall, 22 years old. For those of you who don't know, he played in the Baylor basketball team and didn't play football. And he entered the draft. Didn't really work out for him, but he's on the Cowboys practice squad right now. You can see his awareness is really bad, but he's got 79 speed for a tight end, 84 acceleration, 84 agility. And he's actually like, if you can work on his stats, he's actually going to be pretty good. So he's 6'8". I mean, it's hard to go wrong with a 6'8", 290-pound tight end, and we can work with him. He's a slow developer, but we don't really have any other options, so we'll see if we can make him pan out. So looks like we have the opportunity of getting Gerald Hawkins, a 22-year-old rookie out of LSU. He's 6'6", 305 pounds, and 69 overall, so that's actually pretty good for a left tackle. Taking him from the Steelers practice squad, he's got normal development, so we actually might be able to get him pretty good. For depth purposes, we're going to be picking up rookie out of Northwestern, 6'6", Dean Lowry. 68 overall, he's a 3-4 versatile player with normal development. He's looking like he could be a really good player in the future. At least he's going to provide some bench depth. Looks like Sheldon Day is on the Jaguars practice squad, 69 overall, a big D tackle from Notre Dame. We're going to take him from their practice squad and put him on our active roster. Probably one of the older guys I will be signing is D. Milliner, and I actually really like him. He has had a really bad start to his career. He's been in the league 3 years. But I kind of like him because when the Jets made the trade for Darrelle Revis, they traded the Buccaneers for their first-round pick, and with that selection, they picked D. Milliner. So he was essentially like a straight-up trade for Darrelle Revis, and he hasn't panned out, but they obviously saw a lot in him to think he could be good. He's a man-to-man corner, which I really like, so I can do man coverage blitzes, which is kind of my defensive play style. So we're going to pick up D. Milliner and hope that he can get his career on track. He is a slow developer, so he probably won't get that much better, but if he does, it'll be a huge plus. We're definitely going to be looking at cornerbacks in the draft, so it's just a small risk here. So I found this guy in the cornerbacks. He's on the 49ers practice squad. It's Rashard Robinson. He's 21 years old, rookie out of LSU. He's got 92 speed, 89 acceleration. Like, he looks like he's pretty good. He's also a man-to-man corner, so that fits my scheme. I think I'm going to give him a shot at that price. We're going to pick up Gerard Holloman. He's a one-year player out of Louisville. He's a playmaker, 68 overall, 22 years old, so he's fairly young for being a one-year player. Yeah, normal growth rate, and I figure having a playmaker more than likely coming off our bench will be helpful. Again, just building that depth. This is a guy I really want to pick up. I live in the Minnesota area. I'm actually a Packer fan, but I listen to a lot of Minnesota sports talk because that's where I'm from. Jaron Kearse, actually the nephew of Javon Kearse, and he's trying to make a name for himself. He's a huge safety at 6'4", coming out of Clemson. He's got normal XP potential, and I think we might actually start him at strong safety because I think he could get a lot better from 66 overall. We might even make him a player that we do training on every week because I think this guy could develop into a beast. He's like a hard-hitting 6'4" safety, so I'm really excited to have him on the team. We're going to be picking up a rookie kicker from the Texans practice squad, and it's Kaimi Fairbairn. We might be looking to trade for another kicker, but we're going to pick him up. He's a clutch kicker, so he could actually end up being pretty good. So taking him there. And the last rookie free agent I'm looking to sign is Ted Karras, the 6'3", 305-pound right guard out of Illinois. He's 72 overall. Only 23 years old, and he's a rookie, so he's going to have normal development and 86 strength, 78 run block. His pass block could use some work, but we're probably not going to have any right guards, so signing him is going to give us depth. And Alright guys, it's pretty exciting. I just made a deal with the Dolphins here, and it might look crazy to you. I'm trading both backs, Isaiah Crowell and Duke Johnson. But the thing was, the Dolphins were super interested in them. I kind of was shopping them around, seeing what teams were interested, and the Dolphins were super interested. We had to give up those two and this year's 6th-round pick, which is our last pick. What's this bad value for a draft pick? Oh yeah, I guess because 6th round. So Laramie Tunsil was a guy in the draft who was supposed to be the top offensive lineman off the board. He was expected to go like in the top 3 overall picks after the 2 quarterbacks. Honestly, they think he could have been one of the best players in the draft, and then they actually ended up. He slid a lot because there was a video released of him smoking, and it went viral, and it was like it was a pretty bad video, but he dropped all the way to, I believe it was like 12, 13 range to the Dolphins. So they got potentially one of the best linemen in the draft, 81 overall already, left guard Laramie Tunsil, and now he's on our team. I think that was an awesome trade because he's going to be our left guard probably for the entire series. So I think that was an awesome move. Let me know what you guys think. I know this could be debatable, but Alright guys, so the first guy we really had to get rid of, Andrew Hawkins, because he was on the roster for more than 2 years. He's 30 years old, Didn't really want him anyways because I have other wide receivers coming up. Ended up getting a... Alright guys, awesome deal here. I had to trade Gary Barnidge. He's probably one of our better trade chips. The Giants were really interested in Raheem Moore, and then they also needed a right tackle. So I needed to trade Pastore anyways, so there's 3 guys off the books that I had to trade anyways. I ended up getting rookie cornerback Eli Apple from Ohio State, so he's gonna... It says it doesn't fit our scheme, but my scheme is different, so I'll have to go change that. He's a man-to-man corner. I'm excited to put him in the system. Eric Flowers was their first-round pick last year. He is a big left tackle, so I'm excited to get him into the system, and he will probably develop really well over time and become probably our starting left tackle. So now we have a set left tackle, left guard for the future, and Eric Flowers and Laramie Tunsil. And also, the best I was able to get was a 2018 4th-round pick out of them. But still, overall, I say it's a really good deal. Gary Barnidge is really good, but he's getting old. I'm looking for other options at tight end, so I think that worked out. Kind of surprised this actually went through. I'm trying to get rid of Taylor Gabriel. I don't think I'm ever going to play him, and then also our DeValve tight end I don't think I'll ever play. And then somehow the 49ers were interested in Gabriel, so they were able to give us a next year's 4th-round pick. So that's pretty cool. I think it's becoming pretty apparent to me that next year's 4th and 5th round picks are pretty dispensable, so I'm probably going to be loading up on a lot of those. Got a really sweet deal with the Jets. I was trading both of my 2 right guards that I needed to trade. They were really interested in right guards, and then unfortunately I had to give a next year's 3rd round pick, but I'll probably be able to get that back somehow. And I got Leonard Williams, who is actually quite a beast. He just got drafted, I believe, last year, and he kind of slipped to the Jets, so he was like one of the defensive linemen that got... I mean, they got really lucky to have him. He's already 83 overall and has quick development, so he's probably going to be our best defensive player. I thought that was a no-doubt trade for next year 3rd round pick. Alright guys, I got an awesome deal here. Joel Bettino actually did fit the bill for being under 2 years of service to the Browns, but if you remember, I got Laramie Tunsil, who has a little bit better development traits, so I'm going to go for it. Laramie Tunsil, trade Joel Bettino and Kay Williams, the cornerback. Swap 3rd round picks from this year for the Buccaneers 3rd round next year, and in return I'll get Austin Seferian-Jenkins, who's a very talented tight end. He could end up being one of the better tight ends in the league, as well as Vernon Hargreaves, who was the, I believe, 13th overall pick by the Buccaneers this year. Yeah, it was the 11th overall pick by the Buccaneers this year, and he was a really good cornerback coming out of college. So I'm excited to have him on the team. I have Eli Apple and Vernon Hargreaves already. As a lot of coaxing, definitely the biggest deal yet. I'm trading easily my 2 best players in Joe Thomas and Joe Hayden. They can no longer have tenure on my team because of the rules I have. They've both been on the roster for more than 2 years. And I also gave up that 2nd round draft pick, but I picked up 24-year-old 95 overall Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger. I'm so excited. He's one of my favorite players in the NFL, one of my favorite players in Madden, and it's going to be super cool to have him for the foreseeable future on this team. I think even within that 5-year span, he's going to be in his prime all 5 of those years. So this one's a huge deal. The Steelers were very interested in my backup defensive tackle Murder. They must be desperate for defensive tackle because they are taking Tramon Williams, Nate Orchard, and Murder for Ryan Shazier in a next year's 6th round pick. So Ryan Shazier is the fastest middle linebacker in the MLB, or sorry, in the NFL. He is 90 speed, 81 overall, and a very young, good player. The Steelers were very interested in D. Bryant. I believe it's Desmond Bryant, our left end, 78 overall. We had to get him off the team. He's one of those players who didn't fit our qualifications, and we ended up getting left outside linebacker Bud Dupree, who was the 22nd pick in the 1st round of the Steelers last year. He's a really good pass rushing outside linebacker out of Kentucky, if you guys remember him. Got a pretty good trade here. I'm giving up Barkevious Mingo. He's a guy that I do have to trade. My 5th round pick this year and 7th round pick next year for Ryan Kelly, the 1st round pick of the Colts this year. He's the center from Alabama, and he's got quick development trait. 76 overall, so he's not the best right now, but I feel like in a year or 2 he's going to be really good, like 80, upwards of 85 overall. I was able to get Bradley Roby, the 81 overall, 24-year-old cornerback from the Denver Broncos, for Justin Hughes, my right end, and a this year 5th round pick. Alright, I got really good value for Robert Nkemdiche. He's from Ole Miss, and he got drafted he fell all the way to the 29th pick in this year's draft, mainly because of off-the-field issues, but he's considered to be one of the better defensive linemen in this draft. So now I have Robert Kimdichie lining up on one end of the line, and then Leonard Williams lining up on the other. So that's going to be a pretty dominant defensive line. I did have to give up a 5th and 6th round pick, got back a 7th, but all I gave up was Demario Davis. So overall, it's really right. For two players I had to trade, a backup center and then a backup middle linebacker, I was able to pick up Amir Abdullah in a 4th round draft pick for next year. It's tremendous value just for the draft pick, and then Amir Abdullah I would like to be my starting running back. He's just so amazingly quick. I really liked him last year in the preseason. He kind of fell off during the regular season, didn't get any touchdowns all year, I don't believe, but now he's on the Browns and we're going to be rolling with him as our starting running back. So just quick trade here, got my backup middle linebacker, was able to get a 3rd round pick next. Right, I was looking to dump a few more of my players that I had to get rid of, so I traded 71 overall, 69 overall, 68 overall, and ended up getting 71 overall second-year player Philip Dorsett on the Indianapolis Colts. He is actually really good. He's super fast, so I'm looking at being able to get him in my wide receiver core as well as the next year 4th round pick. So I'm building up those draft picks. Alright, I got strong safety Carl Joseph, who is the hard-hitting safety out of West Virginia. He was the 14th pick in this year's draft. I forgot to get this transaction in here, but I did trade that left end I was trying to get rid of to the Lions for a next year. Alright guys, I'm going to have a little bit of a predicament here because I just got Jalen Smith for a next year 3rd and 4th round pick, as well as the right end Nassib. I have Ryan Shazier, but Jalen Smith develops really quick. I've seen people do franchise modes, and Jalen Smith turns into a beast fast. So I'm going to have to make some decisions about him and Ryan Shazier. Okay, this took a lot, but it's going to be worth it. I traded Ryan Shazier because I got Jalen Smith. I'm going to have to look for a backup middle linebacker, but Paul Kruger had to go anyways, and I was trying to be able to get a lot out of him. So I bundled those two with this year's 2nd round pick, which I hated to do, but they didn't want a next year's 2nd. They wanted this year's 2nd, and I got Jalen Ramsey, who was the 5th overall pick in the draft this year. Arguably the best player. Obviously, the 2 quarterbacks went 1st and 2nd. Bosa went 3rd, and then Cowboys went offense and Ezekiel Elliott. But Jalen Ramsey could be the best player in this draft, and he develops like a monster. Like, he's going to be 99 overall. I don't even doubt it. So he's going to be worth it in the long run for these guys. I'll have to try to get that pick back though, but. Okay, so I traded my punter and 2 5th round picks to get the Jaguars punter Bradley Nortman. He's from Wisconsin, and I'm a Wisconsin fan. Alright, so we need a right outside linebacker, probably going to be a backup, but we're signing Matt Judon, who's a rookie on the Ravens practice squad. He looks pretty good. His stats are solid. He's 6'3", 24-year-old rookie, almost 300 pounds for a 3-4 pass rusher, so he might be pretty good. I'm going to cut backup quarterback Austin Davis so that I can pick up a new quarterback. So we need to sign another right guard. We're going to be signing Justin McCray out of UCF. He's a 321-pound, 6'3" lineman, only 24 years old, so we're going to pick him up. Alright, so I figured if RG3 gets hurt, we might as well have a little fun with whoever backup is, and I found Cardale Jones in the Bills, so I gave them D. Lowry, a backup left end, and a next year's 5th round pick to get. Alright, I'm trading 2 next year's 4th round picks in exchange for Blake Martinez. He's a pretty good middle linebacker on the Packers. Alright guys, our fullback is terrible, so I'm actually going to give this a shot, signing Trent Richardson, making him a fullback, because he exited the league a little bit too early. He has talent, he's just never really panned out, and his pass block is 70 and his run block is like 55, so we can actually work on him with his progress to give him better run blocking, and he'll actually end up being a pretty good fullback, I think. Alright guys, we have Trent Richardson, 25 years old. He's a 72 overall halfback. Let's make him a fullback and see what happens. Good old 34. So he went from 72 overall to 69 overall. He's still way better than our fullback. So we're going to work on Trent Richardson's run blocking. How cool is that, though? We're bringing Trent Richardson back to the team. Originally drafted him, traded him away. 87 speed is going to be really good for a fullback once he fully develops. We're bringing him back to Cleveland. All right, we need a backup left end, so we're going to be signing David Irving off the Cowboys practice squad. He's 68 overall and only 1 year in the league, 6'7", 273 pounds. So he looks like an athlete. I'm not positive, but I think Garth Gerhardt is somebody who's on our roster. I feel really bad if he wasn't, but he would be the last guy I have to get rid of to make the roster completely new, other than those 2-year guys. So here we go. I found David Andrews on the Patriots practice squad. He's a run blocking center, 6'3", 295, 71 overall. So we're gonna pick him up. This is the absolute most amazing thing about doing this roster rebuild and getting rid of everybody that's been on the team more than 2 years. And trading for young guys, our cap room is now $67.7 million. So we're going to be able to pay the guys who end up being good on this team. All right, we have the final depth chart set, and we have our roster complete. Robert Griffin is our starting quarterback to start the year. We're hoping he can do a lot. We're giving him a second chance here. He's still got 85 speed, 82 acceleration, 83 agility. He's still got solid stats. He can throw it. 81, 75, 73 accuracy with 92 throw power. And look at Cardale at 96 throw power, no accuracy. So it'll be really fun playing with these two quarterbacks throughout the year. If we ever get a lead or we're down too much, Cardale's going to get some playing time. But Robert Griffin is our starting quarterback. Amir Abdullah, the lightning quick halfback out of Nebraska. Super excited to have him on the roster. And backing up him, the rookies, Kenneth Dixon and Kenyon Drake. The fullback, we picked up Trent Richardson because our fullback was so bad. We're definitely got to work on his blocking throughout the entire first year, and hopefully he can turn into an actual fullback. And if he doesn't, we'll have to look elsewhere in the offseason. Wide receiver, the way we're starting it is Corey Coleman, Josh Gordon, the two obvious number 1 and 2 wide receivers, followed by Moritz Boehringer. He's the guy I really want to do as a project in this series, the 6'4", fast guy. He breaks a lot of tackles in this game, which is crazy, so I'm excited to put him in the slot to see what he can do in the open field and breaking tackles in the middle of the field. And Terrell Pryor can be the wide receiver below that. The way I look at it is I want Terrell Pryor on the outside, and I'd rather have Boehringer in the slot, even though he is big. He's 6'4", but I think he can develop well in the slot and maybe move to the outside later. And then Philip Dorsett and Tajay Sharp below them. At tight end, we have the talented Austin Severian Jenkins, 6'5", 260 out of Washington. Excited to have him as my tight end this year. He's one of my favorite young tight ends in the league. And Rico Gathers, the 6'8" monster out of Baylor. Left tackle, we have Eric Flowers, the Giants' first-round pick from last year. He's pretty good already at 76 overall, looking to improve him going into next year. Laramie Tunsil, arguably the best guard or offensive lineman actually in this draft in 2016, so hopefully he can prove what he's worth and make all those teams who passed on him feel bad. At center, Ryan Kelly, the Colts' first overall pick this year to protect Andrew Luck. He's probably going to be a very good player out of Alabama, very smart, very big, strong center guy, so excited to have him snapping the ball. Right guard, we're definitely got to work on. We have Ted Karras, 72 overall, rookie out of Illinois. Definitely a position we'll look to improve in the offseason. Along with right tackle, we have Bobby Hart starting out of Florida State. It's not going to be a pretty first year on the right side, but we did what we could with what we had, honestly. At left end, Robert Nkemdiche, the guy who slipped in the draft all the way to the end of the first round at the Cardinals. Again, when the Cardinals took Tyrann Mathieu, it seemed like an awesome idea. They're an organization that's set to take in players without the field issues. Nkemdiche is one of them, and he is probably the best defensive lineman in the draft. Just solid. D-tackle at Ole Miss, now he's moving to left end in the NFL. I also put in Bud Dupree as backups for left end and right end because I want him coming in to kind of pass rush and get more sacks since he's not going to be starting as my left outside linebacker. Then we have Leonard Williams, the tank. He's only played 1 year. He's 83 overall and still has super development, so he is going to get to 95, 99 overall very, very quickly. He's going to be the beast of this defense. He's the one I'm most excited to play with. I'll probably user him most of the time on defense, so super psyched to have him. D tackles were not great, but we're solid enough. We have Danny Shelton and Malik Collins we were able to get off free agents. And then, yeah, we're kind of weak after that. Might have to pick someone up or make a trade throughout the season to add some depth at D tackle. Left outside linebacker, we're starting the Browns' second round pick, the first overall pick in the second round. Emmanuel Ogbah, 6'4", 273, is actually really fast. 85 for a linebacker is really good. Bud Dupree's just super fast. So we're going to have Bud Dupree back him up, and then Blake Martinez as a third string option. At middle linebacker, we're starting Jalen Smith. He developed really, really well in this game, so I'm excited to have him as middle linebacker, and then Blake Martinez backing him up there. And Joe Schobert, we're actually giving this start at right outside linebacker. We're probably going to have to improve this position in the offseason, but I wanted to give Joe Schobert a chance since he's from Wisconsin. He's probably going to be our weaker part, but we have Bud Dupree coming in on plays where Schobert needs off. So essentially, Bud Dupree is going to be playing most of the snaps because he's backing up every single position. I kind of like him being that way. He's like the jack of all trades. He can play all those positions and do really well. So now, moving on to the cornerback position, it's the one I'm most proud of. We were able to get Jalen Ramsey, my favorite cornerback in the NFL. He's going to be a beast out of Florida State, 6'1", 209. Bradley Roby, the awesome cornerback that played in Denver. So we have 281 overalls that are only going to get better because they're both super young. Vernon Hargraves, the Buccaneers' first-round pick this year. Awesome cornerback. Eli Apple out of Ohio State, awesome cornerback. He's a first-round pick for the Giants this year, so I have a whole bunch of first-round picks and good cornerbacks. Justin Gilbert, who was a first-round pick by the Browns earlier, 72 overall. He's going to be just fine as a number 5 cornerback. And we also have D. Milliner, the guy we talked about earlier. He didn't even make it into the first cut for cornerbacks, but we're keeping him on the roster for special teams and also backup safety and special teams as well. Oh, sorry, I said special teams. So here we go, free safety, the man, Tyrann Mathieu, easily the best player on our team. If we didn't have him, we'd definitely be tanking, but he's going to be such a rock for our defense for the years to come. He's going to be the guy getting all the money, believe me. And then free safety backup is only 68 overall, so I decided to put D. Milliner in there. He's actually shaping out to be a decent safety, so I put him as a backup, free safety and strong safety, so that he can get some playing time even when he's not playing at corner. So at strong safety, we have Carl Joseph, the hard-hitting safety out of West Virginia. Super excited to have him next to Tyrann Mathieu. He's going to be the run stopper, laying down hits on people, making them not want to come anywhere near the safeties. And Jaron Kearse backing up. Javon Kearse's nephew, coming out of Clemson, 6'4", huge, strong safety. Super pumped to have him on the team. Hopefully he can develop a little bit over the years because I really like him. And D. Milliner, again, backing up that safety position. At kick returner, we put Kenyon Drake and Philip Dorsett and then Moritz Boehringer. So hopefully Kenyon Drake can be an awesome kick returner. 91 speed is not quite as good as Philip Dorsett, so we might switch that up, but Kenyon Drake should do well. We're having him return everything. Kickoff specialist, punter Brad Nortman, long snapper Laramie Tunsil, followed by center Ryan Kelly, and third down running back we're leaving as Amir Abdul. He's going to be the workload back. Kenyon Drake can come in on third downs as well. He's a good pass catching back, speedy, shifty guy. Kenneth Dixon is probably our last option we want as third down running back. So yeah, guys, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. I really appreciate your support. If you like this, leave a thumbs up so you can see some gameplay soon, and hopefully you stick around